We'll get started in just a second once I figure out everything here. Is everyone able to hear me? Apparently we can't see me this morning because my camera is doing weird things. So we're just going to forge ahead, and hopefully audio only will be enough. All right. Well, welcome to our February TLF Summit session on equity. And our focus today is going to be attending to emotions. So I'm Dr. Carla Gady, and I am a secondary math teacher support specialist here in APS. And I'll have my colleagues that are with me this morning go ahead and introduce themselves.
Good morning, I'm Amy Chase, and I support elementary science as a member of the TLN.
Buenos dias. My name is Jose Manuel Robles. Many of you already know me. I'm a teacher support specialist for bilingual and dual language integration.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Taylor Mayer. I am a K-12 social studies support personnel at CNI, and I'm happy to be here with you this morning.
Good morning. My name is Jeannie Toole. I am a secondary mathematics teacher support specialist.
Thank you all. And we also on our team have Lori Arnold, who is an elementary language arts teacher support specialist, and she is attending and working with another session this morning. So again, I want to welcome you, and I want to bring your attention to the note taker. I believe Amy put that in the chat. So if you would click the link in the chat, you will need to make a copy once it comes up, and that will help you move along with our presentation today. So just a reminder that curriculum and instruction, we're committed to co-learning about educational equity. And this is one of our sessions in a whole series we started back in October? September? Gosh, this year is just flying by, isn't it? So we have the books that have been delivered to school sites, the Coaching for Equity book, which is the basis for our series. And there are voluntary book studies ongoing throughout the district. We will be working on 2 other sessions to finish the year, the March session, the Elephant in the Room, and the April session, What do you want your legacy to be? I'm sure they're going to be fabulous. So our focus today, again, is on our emotions, becoming more aware and open about our own emotions. And we're going to anchor this session today in this quote from Elena Aguilar, where she says, accepting and embracing emotions is an act of political resistance. To do so is to reject systems of oppression that intentionally, by design, seek to dehumanize and subjugate us. They seek to sever the relationships we have with our bodies, minds, and hearts. Accepting and embracing our emotions. So today we're going to look at how do we manage our emotions? How do we give ourselves permission to have emotions? After all, we are human beings, and human beings have emotions. So what do you believe about emotions? Take a moment to reflect on the following statements that are on the screen. Do you believe these statements? A little, sometimes, a lot? How many of these statements have you heard, or felt, or experienced? What if we viewed emotions as information? You can go to the next slide. After all, an emotion is really a message that something matters. An emotion is the primary way that your body and mind send you signals about what you need. An emotion is a portal to wisdom. And Elena says, when an emotion comes knocking at your door, it's trying to tell you whether or not your needs are being met. So let's take a minute to reflect on our emotions. The first step in embracing and accepting our own emotions is actually being able to name them. So as you read through the statements shown here, you may want to refer to the core emotions link. There's a link listed in the note taker document that might help you with naming some of your emotions. So again, take 1 minute to review the statements you see on the screen and try to name some emotions that you have as a teacher. So as teachers, we experience a lot of emotions, perhaps because we're dealing with people, and particularly we're dealing with students who also have a lot of emotions. But emotions such as care and commitment and love are the root of why we teach. Our emotions brought us to this field. But when we go through and we don't embrace or accept or acknowledge or understand or even name our emotions, they're going to come out anyway. And sometimes they come out in ways that aren't so pleasant. So learning to accept and embrace our emotions will also help contribute to a healthy workplace.
Carla, thanks for getting us started. So as Carla mentioned, we have emotions. They're real. As educators, we do have them, and we get to have them. And sometimes it's helpful for us to be able to think about what's happening when we're experiencing an emotion. And Elena Aguilar has broken down the experience of having emotions into a cycle. And being able to break down the different parts of the cycle are very helpful for us to think about, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And how do I want to react when I'm experiencing strong emotions? So Carla and I are going to talk through an example together so that you can see what this looks like before you're asked to dig into your own emotion cycle about a particular event. And Carla, I see you are ready to go. So what we start with is describing a recent emotional experience that you'd like to reflect on.
You ready for me? Awesome. So what happened was I got really frustrated because my principal did a surprise observation, and it was only the first week of school. I guess the emotion I was feeling was frustration, maybe probably anger, and the level of intensity was a 6.
Carla, what event triggered this cycle? This is thinking about the who, what, when, and where.
Well, my principal showed up in my classroom unannounced on the 5th day of school this year to do a formal evaluation.
So how did you interpret this event? This is thinking about your why.
So I interpreted this as she wanted to check up on me because, well, frankly, my evaluation last spring wasn't great. She moved me to kindergarten level, and I've never taught this before. And I feel like every move I make is being watched.
Ooh, that sounds hard. What happened in your body?
Well, I felt my stomach tighten, and I felt my breath get shorter.
So what did you want to do in that situation?
Well, I wanted to either run from the room or really tell my principal to just get out.
Okay, so then what did you actually do? What did you say?
Well, I had to keep teaching. I ignored her. I focused on my kids. I wasn't as relaxed as usual, but I did move on in the lesson. My hands were shaking, though. I think I appeared really nervous.
So what do you think are the consequences of what happens and how you responded?
Well, I felt sick all day. I felt exhausted and also angry. I feel like she's trying to catch me messing up so that she can get rid of me.
There's some pretty strong feelings, Carla. Thanks for walking through an emotion cycle with me. So now, folks, it is your turn. In your note taker, there is a section called Individual Reflection. And it guides you through your own opportunity to reflect on an emotion cycle. You're going to go through 3 different phases in the next 12 minutes. You're going to identify, describe, and reflect, just as it's outlined in that note taker. You can feel free to turn off your camera for these 12 minutes while you engage in that personal reflection, and then we'll come back to this whole group and put you in some breakout rooms so you can talk about your experience. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to either unmute yourself or drop a question in the chat. And I'm going to mute myself so you can have some quiet thinking time for the next 12 minutes.